time it take to take it. The time it take to win. The time you made the greatest. Yeah. You made the greatest time with your life. Right now is greatness. You picked the perfect time in the world is right now. That time is greatness. I don't care how long it take. I don't care what storm you've been through. It's greatness. It's how legends is born. Greatness. I couldn't do it without the greatest group in the world. Greatness. I couldn't do it without the greatest nephew in the world. Greatness. I love my mama.
What's up, everybody? Happy April 30th. This is the last day of April 2024, and I'm your girl, Sonja Pearson, host of Prim and Proper Sports, but this is Nessp at night. Thank you so much for joining me on this terrific Tuesday. I hope everybody is doing well. Thanks for all your well wishes. I'm slowly but surely getting back from this horrible bout with pneumonia. Got to take care of yourself, folks. I am joined by the special guest once again. I'm going to reintroduce to some and introduce to others. My friend, my colleague, I'm so excited, co-host of the Glove Fist, the one and only Jack HIRSCH. Jack, good evening. How are you, my friend?
Good. I'm going to use an old Muhammad Ali line. I don't know whether you ever heard this. He always used to go on the talk shows, and he'd always say to the host, I like your show and I like your style, but you pay so low I won't be back for a while.
Jack,
he never failed to use that line.
Love the joke. I love it. I do pay pretty low, but I gotta have money to pay money. So you know how that goes. But yeah, I love it, Yellow. Yeah. You're looking nice.
Yeah, you pay as much as Mac. That's all I'll say.
One day we're gonna get it together, Jack. I promise you. One day. How was your day?
Oh, good. Went out for hibachi lunchtime. Son-in-law's birthday, went out, and that was early, and I was starving before the show. I had to grab something quick. So I grabbed something at Wendy's, nutritious day of eating.
And now I'm going to tell you, you should have some leftovers from that hibachi, Jack.
Well, my wife has the leftovers. I devoured my whole lunch.
Oh, wow. You don't even look like you can eat that much, but thanks for joining me. I'm glad you could squeeze in another meal. I just had like some cauliflower pizza right before we came on. I'm slowly but surely getting my appetite back. Comes in waves, when you're on all this medication for stuff.
And then we got to check the latest sports. And I quickly check, and I see the Broncos aren't picking up Wilson's option. So I'm automatically thinking locked in Russell Wilson for some crazy reason. Knowing, of course, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler now, but it's my guy, Zach Wilson. And they would have had to have their head examined to have picked up his option. Why even report it on the news? It would have been insanity to pay him over $20 million a year and pick up his option. But I guess the news is a little slow at times in sports.
I'm going to tell you, and speaking of other crazy news, Zeke Elliott is back in Dallas. They've signed him to a one-year contract. He's reunited with Dak. I mean, Jerry is getting desperate. Wouldn't you think? Some people are saying Zeke's better days are behind him.
Zeke's better days are behind him, but he had a little bit of a resurgence when he went to the Patriots. I mean, he worked hard. He was a very good teammate. He was a positive influence. These prima donna running backs who were amongst the league's best at one point, you think when their performance starts slowing down, there's going to be a little bit of an attitude that they're not going to accept their role. But Zeke was humble. He accepted his role. And now he's coming back to the Cowboys, and they're very thin in the running back position. It's really ironic. He became the number 2 back towards his last stint at the Cowboys behind Tony Pollard. Now Tony Pollard's gone, Ezekiel Elliott's back. But they can't rely on him that heavily. He could be a little bit of a workhorse at times, but they can't rely on him, heavily. He's not going to be the Zeke of old.
I know. It's kind of like, breaking up with your ex and getting back with them. It's never the same. Like, people do reconcile all the time, but it's never going to be the same as it was the first time. That newness, because you've already kind of prejudged him at this point.
He's getting $3 million a year, and that's backup money, even for a running back, even though the market on running backs isn't as strong as the other positions. Think of it, it was a $3 million a year investment for the Cowboys. And, maybe it'll help. Zeke's a decent blocker. He showed he could still run a little bit. And we'll see. It's a good pickup for the Cowboys. I think it's good for Zeke. Apparently, he enjoyed his all those years in Dallas. For him to want to come back because some other team would have picked him up.
Maybe he saw the grass wasn't greener on the other side.
Well, he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave, Sonja, to begin with. They didn't want him there. They moved on from him originally. But then, like I said, he showed them he still has a little something left. And apparently he wasn't a problem off the field at Dallas.
Well, not only that, when he got in New England, let's face it, he wasn't really that much of a difference maker to get them to the playoffs. So I think when you're kind of chasing rings, which a lot of Cowboys and former Cowboys seem to do, it clearly wasn't the Belichick way. That was Belichick's final season. And so now they're embracing him back. And he actually looked happy. He and Dak are pretty good buddies. So who knows? Maybe they'll go more than 12-5. Maybe they'll go 13-4 this year. Who knows?
Well, Dallas is the biggest mystery team in the NFL because you think of all their owners, none of them would have more of an urgency to win than Jerry Jones. He's 82 years old, and he's always given off the impression how badly he wants to win. It's more than just money. He told our own Jim Jeffcoat on this network, who used to play for him when the Cowboys had those Super Bowl winning teams, he once told Jim Jeffcoat only about 5 or 6 owners in the whole league care a lot about winning. They care as much about winning as they do the money they can make. And he would give you the impression Jerry Jones, he was one of them. But this offseason, unless he's just doing it to clear cap space, thinking of next year, and they're taking the year off basically, hoping the players they have, who were successful last year until they ran into Green Bay in the playoffs, can maybe have a good regular season again and perform better in the playoffs. But they certainly didn't make moves to make their team better. They didn't show any real urgency. That's their big offseason acquisition. Coming back to Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, come on. It's like the teacher you didn't give tenure to, but then you rehire that teacher like a couple of years later.
Yeah, and like Casey says, hi, Casey. Thanks for joining us again. Always supporting the show on YouTube. Let me take a pause real quick. Jack, thank you to all my Prim and Proper Sports subscribers on YouTube. But also, please download the Roku app and look for Northeast Streaming Sports. Mac and Linda, the great producers over there, run an amazing show. There's some issues with the Facebook right now, so make sure you head over to Roku and download the app for that. And also, they're on YouTube, Northeast Streaming Sports as well. And hello, Tara, one of my Pantherettes coming in. And KC says that Dallas missed out on a lot of good drafts. And he also says, or he or she says, that the Patriots needed a quarterback. Well, because she did tell me she was my sorority sister a while back. I still haven't figured out who she is. The Patriots needed a quarterback because Belichick gave quarterback to Mac Jones. So,
wait a minute. Mac Jones was awful last year. Right. So they shipped him off to Jacksonville for a 6th-round draft choice. Mac Jones had a good rookie year, and then it fell apart. He was awful, beyond awful. And you kind of wondered what was going on with his development with Belichick.
Yeah, it's been a lot, but needless to say, let's kind of look at it. We all talked about how quiet Dallas was. We had the draft. This is my first real show since the draft, because I did Friday night with the fellas and we did round 2 of the draft. Did a 6-hour almost show with Mac and some of the guys on Thursday. I came in about an hour late to get myself together. So this is the first real week we've had time to let the draft settle in. What were your thoughts, your initial thoughts on the draft, Jack?
Oh, well, the Michael Penix Jr. moved by the Falcons at number 8. I mean, I'm not revealing anything. That was the biggest shock to everybody. If I said there was anything that was a bigger shock, I mean, it wouldn't be believable. My Jets at number 10, Brock Bowers was there, yet they went for Fashono, an offensive lineman from Penn State. And that was a classical pick of need over best player available. Because Brock Bowers is going to be a sure thing. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be a great player, but worst case scenario, Brock Bowers is going to be a good tight end in the NFL. Worst case scenario. And we see so many offensive linemen who are questionable whether, they're really going to make it and play up to expectations. And so the Jets went offensive line. Need wise, it was the right move to make because the Jets already have Tyler Conklin, a decent tight end playing the position, but you can play two tight ends. And you just don't bypass a player like Brock Bowers. You just don't do it, yet they did it for a need. And I was a little disappointed at the time. I understand the move. But chances are they're going to regret not taking Brock Bowers. Or 1 year from now, Jet fans are going to say, oh, we would have been better off taking Brock Bowers.
Yeah, and that was a shock. The Michael Penix Jr. shocked everybody. But I guess I could see it. Kirk Cousins has not been a winning quarterback in the postseason. He's on the shadows of turning 40. He's had an injury. Why not go ahead and I call it the Green Bay way, Jack, when they start bringing in quarterbacks that they know are not going to take the field right now, but they start shaping and molding them to keep the youth so that in a couple of years they're ready to go. And at a minimum, they've already put this money into Kirk Cousins. And so if Penix shadows Cousins, even though he's coming in with his own set of injuries, quadruple injuries, then he may be the quarterback of the future. And the general manager actually came out and said that they are going to be not forecasting him to take the field for 4 seasons. I mean, that's kind of
that's talk that could change quickly. I'm in the minority in that I actually like the move because I think the most underrated position in football is the backup quarterback. Think of all the teams who've went downhill when their starter gets injured. Look at the Jets last year. Aaron Rodgers goes down the first game of the season. If they had a really competent backup, the season wouldn't have gotten away from them. And if Michael Penix is as good as you think he is with Atlanta, you take him. Now, they guarantee Cousins close to $100 million. And so the first couple of seasons, they're going to play him. It's too much money to pay him not to play him. Cousins has never really had an off season in the NFL. He's been steady. Chances are he's going to be steady again. He has the weapons in Atlanta, and he'll be good. But what do you do in 2-3 years? I mean, obviously they're going to have to detour to Penix at some point. The Packers situation, when they took Jordan Love, they didn't take him as high as number 8, but they did move down to take him in the first round in the 20s. Similar to when the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers when Brett Favre was their quarterback. But Rodgers surprised the Packers by having 2 back-to-back MVP seasons. And then this third year, he was a little off. But had Rodgers' attitude been all in with Green Bay, he would have been the starter next season too. But they got Jordan Love, to pass the baton to, and that's what the Falcons are doing with Penix. He's not in the prime of his career necessarily, Kirk Cousins. You're right, 35 years old, coming off the Achilles injury. Listen, Rodgers is 40 coming off the Achilles injury, but Rodgers is kind of a magician, and Rodgers is a leader in that team, in the organization. Everyone turns to Rodgers. Kirk Cousins hasn't quite established that in Atlanta. He'd have to, have a big season this season and show tremendous leadership for everyone to detour to him.
Yeah, it's a lot, and we could definitely stay on that. But there's with the Falcons, that's the talk of the draft. To be honest, that superseded the whole Caleb Williams to the Bears, I think, because people were so
everyone
shocked.
knew Caleb Williams has gone to the Bears.
Yeah,
everyone knew that basically.
Got some comments rolling in here, Jack, and so let me roll back up and catch them. And hello, Tara and Karen.
Wait. He's better than Mariota and Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ritter. Marcus Mariota has nothing left in the tank. He's going to be Jaden Daniels' backup with the Washington Commanders.
We can't even really talk about Mariota.
Desmond Ritter, he went. Did he go? Wait, did he go to New Orleans? I forgot. Darn it. Desmond Ritter. Why am I having a blank where he went to? Did he go to Seattle? I think it was. They're not going to play him there.
He's gone. Yeah, Mariota, we can't even really talk about him because he abandoned the Falcons. Basically was supposed to be on some mystery sickness leave that the team didn't even know about. Then he was on maternity leave at the same time, and it was all because he was benched and literally just abandoned the team. Like they had no idea that he just was not coming back. So Mariota is a moot issue. He got moved to the Eagles. Now he's somewhere else. He's a journeyman, bad sport around.
He was a second overall pick in the draft year. He came out behind Jameis Winston. It's interesting to see where these high draft picks go, these number 2 overall picks. Carson Wentz very quietly got another job to be Patrick Mahomes' backup. That's a perfect situation because if for whatever reason, if Mahomes can't play, at least Carson Wentz has a lot of experience and he'll be in a good system and he might be able to perform well.
I'm always leery, and people probably hear me say this my every show. There's a difference in balling out in college and coming to the NFL. There is an acclimation period that needs to be had. And I see comments about how Bama's quarterbacks, some of them do need development. I've also seen where they talked about Brock Bowers getting the natty, but this is the NFL and this is different. I do want to roll back a little bit, Jack, because we got a lot of comments. Tara is a Panther fan. She talks about the Panthers draft grade being a C, and she wanted to know my thoughts on our picks. So I know she's talking to me because she says on our picks. I really thought at first I probably would have thought a C, but Xavier Legette is going to be a powerhouse for us. Basically, the Panthers focused on getting offensive weapons to try to keep Bryce Williams secured and protected and upright. And so my grade is I would have at least given them a B. I wouldn't have given them an A because I'm always leery of people they draft, and I'm not sold on some of the names that I saw because I don't know a lot about them. But I think that they really invested in the youth of this offense. I think that Dave Canales is vested towards the future. We probably are going to be in another rebuild year. This is not a year to be like, oh, we're going to go out and start winning. But we will win more than 2 games next season. What are your thoughts, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I should win more than 2 games next season. I mean, what's that saying, Sonja? Come on. But the Panthers...
We're trying to go 500. We're going to go 500.
The Panthers didn't have a number 1 draft choice. You wonder about their owner. Someone posted something in a bar criticizing him, and he supposedly stopped there. He wanted to talk to the owner. Now, if he wanted to have a friendly conversation, a nice thing, look, I want to improve the team. I want to do this. I want to do that. That's good stuff. I think fans would like that if he sat down, talked, and they had easy access to him. But it seemed like he went to the bar because he wanted to complain. Maybe lecture them that I don't interfere with my team. First of all, an owner has a right to be very involved. They really, really do. They own the team, but you have to have enough faith in your people to make decisions. You can't be like making them for them. You can't think you have a greater football mind than them. Look, it happened on my Jets. Woody Johnson was telling Joe Douglas, the GM, and Robert Saleh, I want offense in the draft. He wants a lot of offense because the Jet defense was fine last year. They weren't the problem. Offensively, they struggled. So Joe Douglas's first few picks for the Jets were offensive players and an offensive lineman, a receiver, a couple of running backs, which it's okay in a situation like that. But the people say that the owner shouldn't be involved. The owner should be involved. I mean, yeah, he's paying his money for free agents taking a chance. But you don't want to meddle to the point. It's kind of a fine line.
Yeah, and I see it, and the comments are still coming in. So let me just finish wrapping up this. And Robert Wardell coming on. Thanks for always joining us.
Wait.
You're absolutely right. I was bummed about not getting Kool-Aid McKinstry. I thought we were going to get him or Mr. DeJean, and we didn't get either one of them. But the grades are we got Xavier Legette.
Yeah,
Some people actually graded that as a not good grade.
leading receiver.
Then we got Brooks. We got
Yeah,
Brooks for
he
his
might be a
speed.
steal for the Panthers. He's been injured. That if he wasn't injured, he would have went much higher in the draft. Okay, I believe. Well, it
Yeah.
wasn't really a running back draft, but he would have been a first round selection, maybe between 15 and 20, let's say, for argument's sake. And teams get scared when a player like that is injured. They don't want to take a chance on him. They're not sure whether he's even going to start the season, but you draft him, it could pay off big time.
Yeah, Wallace, and then we got Sanders, Smith, Wade, and Crumity, as well as Barrett. So some of these people, I'm gonna have to see. Like I said, I really do see us going 500. Don't want to put it all out there because
Well, yeah,
this just
17 games,
happens.
Sonja. You can't say 500. When Roger Goodell switches it to 18 games, you could say 500.
Well, yeah, well, it's gonna be apparently according to him. And let me just plug in real quick. Casey says she thinks Legette pairs well with Adam Thielen. They were showing some videos of them throwing today. I think they're gonna be really well. They were showing Bryson Thielen. I'm an Adam Thielen fan, even when he was with the Vikings. I hope he stays with the team. And but I was just happy when Teppers went to the bar that he didn't throw a drink on anybody else. When I first saw the headline and he was at a bar, I was like, oh gosh. But he did want to see who left the sign, who put that sign out there. That was basically like, this time, let your GM and your coach do the picking. And he was like, he wanted to know who it was. And so the person told him who it was, but the person had already left that left the sign. But I'm like, what you gonna say to him if you track him down and have words with him? Like, you can't unchange what somebody feels just because you confront them. That's confusing to me.
Yeah, it kind of seemed odd. The Panthers made a good offseason move getting Clowney. He apparently wanted to go to Carolina. He certainly didn't go there because he has visions of going to the Super Bowl. I think he knows what's what, and you could say he's a little long in the tooth, but when he shows up, he's still really, really good. And I think he has a lot of good football left in front of him. So he might fill in the gap for Brian Burns going to the Giants. Burns didn't have an overwhelming season last year. People forget that it really wasn't as overwhelming as the year before when the Panthers turned down a couple of number one draft choices
with the Rams.
I think this year with the Panthers, the fans will be happy if there's just improvement. If they improve a few games, go 6-11, and Bryce Young is really trending in the right direction by the end of the season. Okay, that's going to be a key thing. If the Panthers, or even 6-11 or whatever, and Bryce Young isn't truly improving, I don't think the fan base, is going to be happy at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like they've already predicted it's a 2 season. The first year, okay, you're there, you don't have the weapons. The second year, it's like hurry up and get acclimated, or the third year, you're not going to be there. You're going to be getting moved to the back. But they sold the farm. We're even giving away picks next season, Jackie. You know how that is. So many picks, but I was happy to see they were able to make maneuvers during this year's draft, especially with them having such a wide receiver and quarterback deep draft. That was why we were able to get people we were even so low in the draft, because we traded up to be number 32 in the first round. I was excited about that. I was literally sitting here, fingers crossed. So thanks to the Bills for that.
What happened? Yeah, that was for show. Come on.
It worked for me.
The fans got excited. Oh, we're back in the first round. All you did was move up one measly pick.
One count.
But on the record, statistically, it said, oh, the Panthers got back in the first round.
Yeah.
Come on. It's what that reminds me of, Sonja. You're being gullible. For example, someone who wants your $10 and you don't want to pay $10 for something, they'll say it's $9.99, and you're going to take out your purse and start handing
Yes,
them the money for
exactly.
$9.99, not $10. It was one slot. It
You're right. I knew.
didn't do
So
anything to me.
non-Panther fans won't get it.
But
Non-Panther fans won't get it.
one slot could mean something sometimes. Like during the draft, the Jets were going 10, the Vikings 11. The Vikings worked out a deal with the Jets to flip flop 10 and 11. And I'm thinking they obviously want to move up one spot to get McCarthy, but the Jets aren't drafting a quarterback. I think the Vikings were so scared that Denver might work out a deal with the Jets at the last second. They were willing to give up some draft capital, which amounted to like an extra fifth round draft choice for the Jets moving forward. And the Jets kept trading down, and we got an extra third round draft choice next year. And it might not seem much, but it really is. Let's say next season's draft, the Jets want to move up in the second round. They can give, they could give two third round draft choices now, make it appealing for another team.
Yeah, and it's funny because, so what are your thoughts about the whole JJ McCarthy thing? I saw something where they said Sean Payton was involved, him and Jim Harbaugh hyping him up, and got a lot of slack about that, about how JJ McCarthy like went, moved up the rankings really quick.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hype there. JJ McCarthy, there's two ways of looking at it. Maybe more than that, even. He was with the national champions at Michigan. He was an excellent field general. He wasn't asked to win games, to do a lot of things. Can he do it on the NFL level? There's the X factor at Minnesota. Now, when Sam Darnold was with the Jets, I thought it was time to move on. He was there 4 years. It didn't quite make it. He needed to change the scenery, and he did poorly with the Panthers. I think you could speak on it more than I can because you've seen him play more than I did when he was a Carolina Panther. Okay. Yeah. And it didn't quite work out, that. But when you come to think of it, it didn't work out for Baker Mayfield at Carolina. And now he's the starter for Tampa Bay. And I tell myself the same thing could happen in Minnesota with Sam Darnold. He's got the experience. This extra past year when he was with the 49ers may have helped him a great deal. He's been in the league 6 years. He was once the number 3 overall choice in the draft. He has a strong arm. I wouldn't discount him. He might have a big year for the Vikings, and he might ultimately be better than JJ McCarthy. But we both know, Sonja, when you draft a quarterback that high, you got to play him. You got to play him. Otherwise, you'll look really bad, like you wasted a draft choice. But you can't play him while the other starter is doing really well. So you wait for the first opportunity. I saw that happen many years ago with the San Diego Chargers. Drew Brees was their starter. Yeah. But they drafted Phillip Rivers, but Drew Brees was playing great. Brees got injured the last game of the regular season. Had he not got injured, the predicament the Chargers would have been in, having to play Phillip Rivers because they drafted him so high. But how do you sit down Drew Brees?
So that's one of those things. So let me back up with the Sam Darnold thing. Sam Darnold was good with the Panthers. We were winning. I think we won like 4 or 5 in a row until Christian McCaffrey got hurt. Then Sam himself got hurt. Then once he came back, we just saw a whole different squad all around. Let's see. Yeah. So real quick, let me just back up some more comments in here. They're saying Leggett will be the second best wide receiver in Panthers history behind Steve Smith. So even though we moved up to that 32, clearly the 32 counts. So thank you, KC. And Robert says, unless you're Atlanta, you're happy to sit Penix.
No, they're not 4 years. They're talking. You want to know why they say he's ready to sit for 4 years?
Yeah, somebody said he won't sit.
The Falcons are tap dancing. They want to make it seem like, oh, Kirk Cousins is our man. He's our starting quarterback, and they don't want him to feel threatened. What's
They
has the
called
football
him. They
been more than
called
5
him. They called
They
and let him know while they were on the clock. He didn't even
they
know they were.
started the
Yeah,
clock on his
yeah, it was
tenure in
horrible.
Atlanta.
That was
They
horrible.
He is on his way out. Oh, well, I'm not saying they were even obligated to tell Kirk Cousins, "Oh, we're drafting a quarterback,"
Why
unless
wouldn't you? You just paid this man $140 million. Why wouldn't you? Why would you let him find out in the streets or in the blogs? If you're just paying him, I could see if he was already there. They just brought him in and paid him. Like he's new. He hadn't even taken the
well,
field yet.
Sonia, if you're Michael Penix and they're telling you you're going to sit for 4 years,
He's not gonna
four
sit four
years.
years. We know
I mean,
that.
Bo Nix might be starting for Denver this year. And it says Penix in a good spot. He's not in a good spot right now unless he gets to play. Okay, 1 year, any quarterback could, get to learn the NFL. I understand that. But look at the quarterbacks where they were drafted. Caleb Williams. He's absolutely starting 100%.
Yeah.
The next pick, Jaden Daniels with Washington, he's absolutely starting. The third quarterback, Drake May. Chances are he won't start the season. That'll be Jacoby Brissett. But at some point later in the season, Drake May will probably be starting before the year's out. It might be 11, 12 games in. I don't know. But Jacoby Brissett's a bridge quarterback. And you don't sit behind a bridge quarterback the whole year usually. You sit behind a legitimate NFL starter. Like when Mahomes sat a year was behind Alex Smith, an established NFL starter. And then you start looking at the other quarterbacks. You look J.J. McCarthy. I mean, the plan is to get him on the field as soon as they reasonably can. It's conceivable if he looks better in training camp than Sam Darnold, he might hit the ground running. J.J. McCarthy might start. Bo Nix, odds are he will start. Has to beat out Jason Stidham and Zach Wilson. Those aren't the
Well,
guys.
it's not gonna be much to beat out Jason Stidham. Let's be clear. He has not looked like he did in college coming into the NFL.
And can you imagine telling Bo Nix you have to carry a clipboard and learn from Zach Wilson? Come on. So how's Michael Penix supposed to feel? He has the heart of a lion. He's a leader. He wants to get in there. He's got a really good arm. And is he going to take it seriously? I'm saying for 4 years. If you're to believe them, and they really mean it, Penix is sitting 4 years. If I'm Penix, I want out of there.
He's not going to sit for 4 years. They're just trying to assuage him right now. Let's look at some actual rankings from the draft. Right now, the first round draft, they're saying that the best pick was Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs, wide receiver. They were saying that they had predicted the Chiefs would trade up for Worthy 2 months before the draft.
They traded with Buffalo. Yeah,
because
Buffalo
the fit was so perfect. The team has needed a true difference maker, speed receiver since Tyreek Hill was there. And that's all the way in 2022. Worthy's performance at the scouting combine confirmed his elite speed, and now he's working with offensive guru Andy Reid and two-time MVP Patrick Mahomes. It's a win-win situation. Round 2, the second round, round 1 still. The second best pick was Graham Barton to Tampa Bay.
That's a good pick.
It's a chance that he's going to be better scorer than the lineman taken before him. That's going to be good.
Excellent.
And then the third best ranked pick was Jared Verse to the Rams. Drafted number 19 overall because of the general manager Les Snead has decided to finally use his first round pick instead of making it 8 straight drafts without one. The Rams needed an impact player on the edge, and Verse should have a top 12 pick because of his strength, hand usage, and relentless plays. What are your thoughts on that one, Jack?
The one name you didn't mention and no one's mentioning, who's going to be the steal of the draft. He's going to be a Pro Bowler.
Well, I haven't gone through round 2 and 3.
Let me leave it up.
This is just the first
Jared
round.
Verse is considered possibly the best, edge rusher there in college, and he's going to help the Rams a lot. Well, listen, Aaron Donald's retiring, so that's a position of plugging someone in. But how do you replace an Aaron Donald?
So we got a little beef going on between the comments, Casey and Robert. I don't even know who
Oh,
Casey's
okay.
fan base, her club is, but
No, I like
Robert
the
stay
people who
home.
tune into your show, Sonja. They're not like the ones that tune into the show that I have with Mac. They're usually like they like to kiss Mac's rear end in those shows. I mean, they talk sports. They're passionate. The people who tune into your show.
Yes, and they do. And so Robert says, so we know Cousins will be back around 8 to 10 weeks. So we should see Penix out there. So I guess that's in case he's basically saying if something happens to Kirk Cousins.
But you need 2 quarterbacks in this league. That's why I'm okay with the move. I'm fine.
So he's telling KC, because KC is a Falcons fan, I'm assuming, don't hate because your team flopped the draft. And then they're saying, what happens if Kirk has a medical setback or gets hurt? And now we're rolling through the next comment. Still my team. Okay, yeah. KC is a Georgia born, Georgia raised, fed, and when she dies, she's Georgia dead. And Robert said he's just happy his Hawks. Oh yeah, Robert is a Seahawks fan. Got the best overall defensive player.
The Atlanta Hawks a moment, and I'm figuring.
Seahawks.
Yeah,
Seahawks.
Nice.
But I will say, so let me move to round 2 so we can get them all in, Jack. It's so much to talk about. Round 2, the best pick went to Javon Bullard to the Green Bay Packers, ranked number 1, number 58 overall pick. He's going to be a great fit next to Xavier McKinney in the Packers' new defense under Jeff Hafley. Second best pick goes to Ben Sanofi to the Washington Commanders.
That's a great pick.
Number 53. Has a chance to be a Sam Laporta type. You know, Sam Laporta from the Detroit, the Lions. For the fellow rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, making them have big targets. And the third rank of the second round goes to Marshawn Nealon of the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to be a bargain pass rusher to replace Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler Jr., both of whom followed Dan Quinn to the division rival Washington Commanders. Round 3, now we're on Pittsburgh. They got the number 1 spot in the third round as far as draft grades. Roman Wilson to the Steelers.
Yeah, still there.
He's 5'11", 185 pounds.
Yeah.
Going to be an amazing speed on that team. The second pick for the third round goes to Cooper Beebe to the Cowboys as well. Just talented linemen all around, arm length, all that good stuff. And that's how it rounds out with that. The Raiders reeled in Michael Gallup.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the Raiders, I don't want to say dysfunctional, but they've always seemed to be, their equilibrium's always been a little off, the way they've drafted, the way they've gone about things. The Raiders really wanted a quarterback badly in this draft. They were going 13th, and they didn't think all 6 potential quarterbacks would be gone by then. But I guess Gardner Minshew is going to be starting for him, and he's competent if you put the right weapons around him. And like I said before, he has Brock Bowers, to John Maya at the tight end position. So, and they have a decent defense. So we'll see. I'm not high on the Raiders with that said.
Yeah, it's not. But a little fun fact about the draft that hadn't been pointed out too much. The number 100, maybe because nobody saw this pick, round 6, the 181 pick, the Chargers selected Troy, the running back, Kamani Vidal. Now, people may not know who he is, but he's the great nephew of the great Hank Aaron. So, sports still trending.
Who drafted him? Who drafted him?
The Chargers.
Oh, well, Jim Harbaugh. Well, Jim Harbaugh also, didn't he draft in the 7th round Jerry Rice's son?
He did.
As well. So I guess he's a believer in the bloodlines. I mean, in the genetics.
He's a believer in the bloodlines. Want to take a small pause from the NFL real quick to salute Candace Parker, who is officially retired from the WNBA. 3-time WNBA champion, 2016 WNBA Finals MVP, 2-time WNBA WNBA MVP, 7-time WNBA All-Star, 7-time All WNBA First Team, 2020 WNBA Defensive Player of the Year, 2008 Rookie of the Year, 2008 Draft #1 overall pick, two-time Olympic gold medalist, two-time NCAA champion, two-time NCAA tournament MGP, and two-time AP Female Player of the Year. Congratulations on an incredible career in the WNBA, Candace Parker. I'm sure she'll be sitting down on some analyst table real soon. We saw a sneak peek of that in some of the other exhibition games in the past, and especially when you got Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Camila Cardozo. Happy birthday to Camila. Today is her birthday. South Carolina now in the league up there in New York. She went to New York. I think she went to not the Sky.
Well, let me just say about Candace Parker, to backtrack a little to that. Sometimes an athlete is born a little too soon in regard to sports. Now with the WNBA about to make their first serious move to have real popularity. I mean, real popularity where the average sports fan or the average basketball fan might want to sit down, see the whole WNBA draft, tune into games. The ratings were great during college. They improved. She came along a little too soon. Had she come along just now, her career would have skyrocketed a lot more. She'd be more than just a revered name. She'd be, truly a revered player by, all basketball fans.
Yeah, we always got to have the trendsetters and those that paved the way. So I'm sure Angel Reese and Camila Cardozo, who went to the Chicago Sky. I don't know. I was thinking about the Liberty, but she's with the Sky. Her and Angel Reese, Angel in the Sky, are now playing up there together. Had to have the trendsetters to get everybody where they are today, and it's gonna be pretty big.
But you want to be around when your sport explodes in popularity. People aren't going to believe this today, but when the Philadelphia 76ers with Dr. J played the LA Lakers with Magic Johnson, the sixth and final game of the NBA playoff championship, it was on tape delay. Tape delay. Can you believe that? Tape delay.
So I see Casey's following the Atlanta Dream. Honey, this dream has become a nightmare. I heard her say the dream is a nightmare.
Let me ask you this, Sonja.
They'll get there, though.
You see a scenario of there ever being a superstar woman player, not Caitlin Clark. She doesn't have all the athletic attributes. She's a great shooter. She creates a shot. Who would be good enough to get a spot at the end of the bench on a men's team, be the 12th player, on the team, hardly get in at all, but is a Michael Jordan woman type player. Could you ever see a place on a team? I mean, is it possible? Well, we debated that on Mac and Jack, and I thought if someone had the skills of a Brittany Griner, but was a dead-on shooter, and could run quick and get open, anything's possible. But we kind of debated that. We got a boxing guy. That's me. I think now that it is a sanctioned fight, Tyson going to lay Paul out or what? No, Tyson's not laying Paul out, Robert. Tyson is 58 years old. You must be listening to Mac, who's picking Tyson by a knockout.
Tell him about what we talked about, where we said anybody can rough for 4 seconds.
Right. Listen, I'm older than Tyson. The other day, about a week ago, I got in front of the mirror. About a few seconds, I used to box, amateur. I unleashed combinations for a few seconds. It would have looked good to someone, the few second clip. I mean, come on, he's 58 years old now. And when he last fought, over 20 years ago, his skills were declining. Yet Tyson will be in shape. He'll be in shape. If you want to get the fight, it's entertainment. I'm even amused by it, and I'm entertained. And the argument is, well, Jake Paul's not a real fighter. but Jake has been fighting MMA guys, good MMA guys, and beating them. Jake Paul has been living the life of a fighter. But it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be entertaining. And I predict it's going to be such big news. You know the way they have Super Bowl parties? They're going to have the Saturday night parties. A lot of people are going to come over, visit other people. They'll be in bars. It's going to do unbelievably big business. Who's KC? I like KC if KC likes me.
Yeah, KC's one of my sorority sisters.
Oh, okay. How you doing, KC?
She's always a supporter.
Yeah. Thank you. But it's good. But what I don't understand, who is handling Tyson's affairs? Because I heard he's getting less money than Jake Paul. He has to be a complete idiot. He's the draw in this fight, not Jake Paul. I mean, it's Tyson. He's the draw. He should be getting clearly at least 60-40 in his favor, probably more than that.
At this point, he may as well just be doing Tyson chicken. That's about it. That's the only thing. Tyson chicken. That's the only thing he's doing. He's getting paid to show up.
You know, if you want to get the fight because it's entertainment, okay. But they're fighting 2-minute rounds instead of 3, 8 2-minute rounds.
Oh, wow. That says it all right there.
Well, it's a real fight. It's kind of like that movie Rocky Balboa. You didn't know whether it was an exhibition, a real fight. It was supposed to be an exhibition.
It turned into 16 minutes of fighting, that's it?
Well, 16 minutes. Well, listen, it's entertainment then. It's to help Tyson out so he doesn't have to go 3-minute rounds. So when you think of it, 8 2-minute rounds is a total of 16 minutes, the most you'll have to fight. A regular championship fight will be 12 3-minute rounds. That's 36 minutes. Heaven forbid Tyson knocks out Jake Paul. People like Mac give him a chance against Alexander Usyk, who holds a version of the real heavyweight title.
Yeah, you know, that small little implication that really is not what it is, and people just fall for it. Now, I'm not saying that about Mac. So, Mac, if you're watching, this is all Jack talking.
Mac is well. Listen, we had Mac on Glove Fist show yesterday. Mac was in his tank top, and my partner Frank Laterzo was amused listening to Mac give the reasons why Tyson will knock out Jake Paul and might actually win the legitimate world heavyweight title later on. Mac doesn't feel he will. Mac thinks there's a tiny chance Tyson could become world heavyweight champion.
Yeah, if he, like Robert said, if he starts biting someone's ears. I want to take a small plug real quick to just send our well wishes to Texans wide receiver Tank Dell. He was wounded in a Florida shooting a day or so ago. It wasn't something on him. It was basically wrong place, wrong time. But definitely hope he makes a comeback. Unfortunately, we've seen, I can't remember the gentleman's name from the Commanders who was robbed and shot, who is now playing, thank God, but was robbed and shot in the DC area a season or two ago. So these players are getting targeted, or they're in areas because, they're out flaunting their money, or people know that they have money. And unfortunately, it's one of those situations, now he's in Florida and he gets shot. So we just wish him speedy recovery. And Casey says, Robert, you are crazy funny. So they're still going back and forth. Let me ask you, as we have about 9 minutes to wrap up, Jack, it's always such a good time. I think we really need 2 hours when you come on, because you're so much fun and information.
I have a good time here talking to you.
Yes, thank you, Jack. Thank you. Got to come on more often. I know I have to, make sure I set that up.
Sonja, can't invite myself. I mean, on your show, I'm coming on. I mean, you ask me, and if my schedule permits, I'm on.
I appreciate that. I want to plug in real quick now before we switch from the NFL. I want to let everyone know the Bears has secured a veteran 15,000-yard quarterback as the backup for Caleb Williams. Did you know about that, Jack?
No, who?
I don't know who he is. I saw the headline. I need to look because they've already got.
Don't mention it. I haven't heard about this, Sonja.
Yes,
who is available? But who is available that any team can get as a viable backup at this point. I mean, who is out there altogether?
And
There's no one I can
15,000
think of.
yards.
But there's no one I can think of.
So this was on, let's see.
Canadian League or something that they get signed?
They signed, oh yeah.
Heineke. Oh, Tyler Heineke.
No,
Okay.
they're signing former Western Kentucky quarterback Austin Reed as an undrafted rookie free agent following the conclusion of the NFL draft. He threw for more than 15,000 passing yards his collegiate year, including his time in Division II West Florida.
The short's not the same Austin Reeves on the Lakers, who just lost to the Nuggets, and he plays more than
Speaking, well, this Reed succeeded Bailey Zappi, so they were trying to, get him. He succeeded Zappi's passing yards. I don't know. People just, somebody said Heineke. No, it's not Heineke.
Yeah. Well, no, Heineke. Heineke would be a decent. He's a decent guy to have on your roster. I don't know would I trust him as my primary backup. You mentioned the Patriots before we were talking about. They not only drafted Drake May with the 3rd overall pick, but in the 6th round, they drafted another quarterback, Joe Milton, who's slow, has problems with mechanics, but has a really strong arm. But so if they want to keep Joe Milton, someone's got to be odd man out. And what did they do with Bailey Zappi? Because obviously, he's not going to be starting. Jacoby Brissett is. Drake May is waiting for the opportunity, and it's only a question of time when they slot him in to start. And if they keep Joe Milton, what happens with Zappi unless they put Milton on the practice squad or something?
Yeah, well, we got about 6 minutes here to wrap up with some NBA plugs. So there's been people saying that the Lakers Nuggets game should be canceled, but right now that we can't do that. The playoffs between them. The series is over. 76ers right now are playing the Knicks, and the Knicks are leading 3-1. So they're gonna wrap this up here shortly if something happens. It's a 5-point game in the second quarter.
Don't assume. I mean, let me see if I could catch a quick
8 p.m. I didn't give you the score. It's only the second quarter. It's 7 minutes in the second quarter. Game 5.
You're not going to lose viewers, Sonja. You're not going to lose viewers. People don't tune into an NBA game till the 4th period anyway. The Knicks are up
8 p.m. At 8 p.m. Jack, let me tell them about the games for tonight. We don't have much time. At 8 p.m. tonight, we have the Magic versus the Cavaliers. The series is tied at 2-2. And then at 9:30, we're going to have the Pacers versus the Bucks. And that series, Indianapolis is leading 3-1. We've got the Celtics final yesterday. They beat the Heat 102-88. Boston leads 3-1. That series is going to wrap up really soon.
Yeah.
OKC beat the Pelicans yesterday. That series is a wrap. 4-0. There's no way. One game, they're done. That whole series is done. It can't come back from that. Denver.
Well, it's over. It's 4-0. The series is over. It's
they're 4-0. They're over. Best of 7.
Yeah. New York City, they were up 3-0 from the game before.
Lakers have definitely been eliminated. It's now they won one, but it was a little too late.
Well, you know what it is, Sonja. They lost 4 games to 1, but 2 of the losses they could have won those games. With a little extra push, the Lakers could be up 3-2 in that series. So it's what it is. And Anthony Davis played well. LeBron played well. So people can't get on Anthony Davis. Oh, he has to do this or that. He played well in the series against the Nuggets.
Yeah, and hello to Erlene coming on. That's my sister out of Richmond, Virginia. She's always coming in, supporting. Hello, sis. We got about 3 minutes left. So now I was telling you the series is tied between the Magic and the Cavs. The Cavs have struggled at home, and I think the Cavaliers are going to be on the road with the Magic pretty soon, but it's tied 2-2.
No, well, they're in Cleveland tonight. They won the first 2 in Cleveland, and then the last 2 they lost in Orlando.
Oh, well, yeah, and there's a wrap on that one. So that's what we got coming up here. Jack, tell us how to find your show and when it airs and all that good stuff.
Well, it's on this network, the Mac and Jack show. We're Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then we have the Saturday show. Mac's trying to have a format of it being a debate show. That's on 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then you're on the show Sunday. The big football show. Even though we're not in the season of football now.
Yes. Almost like Sunday morning sports show. I think they renamed
those are
it.
my favorite shows, actually, during the NFL season, talking about the games, this and that. We had a lot of fun with Jim Jeffcoat. He picked them bad this year, Jim. We all love Jim.
He's coming back, and he's going to be back next Sunday because he's coming back. It's going to be May, and we've missed Jim. Can't wait to have him rejoin us next Sunday. I think he's going to be back. I know he said May.
Oh,
and May 1st.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I look forward to seeing
What about
Jim.
when does the Glove Fist air?
That's Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah.
I
covered Frank Laterzo boxing. It's like anything else. When there are big fights on the horizon, Jack, who is your college football team? I'll be honest, KC, being from New York, it's not a college hotbed. It's not like being in the other states. College football isn't big around the New York area. And if you consider New Jersey, the New York area, I suppose I would say Rutgers. Okay, I suppose Rutgers turns out some NFL players from time to time. Max Melton, the cornerback, he went in, I think, the second round this year, a Rutgers player. Oh, Pacheco on the Chiefs from Rutgers. He was a 7th round draft choice. So they do turn out some good players from time to time. But Rutgers, they're never going to they don't challenge for national championships, for playoff positions and all that.
And Robert has that big chant, the big Phoenix energy, before Atlanta had it. That's the whole slogan that they've got out there. Desmond Howard and everybody.
Well, how are they taking the news in Atlanta? I didn't ask you about
news. So, I live here, but I'm not a Falcon fan. I'm a Panthers fan. But I've been getting mixed reviews. I was talking to some coworkers today about it. Some of them said at first they were shocked. Now it's kind of settling, like they see it like big picture. But they just don't understand why Kurt was paid so much if the plan all along was to bring in somebody else that for a fact, as soon as Kurt goes down or gets tired or plays subpar, they're going to be ready to move Penix into the position. So that's the big thing. I guess we'll just have to stay tuned at the end of the day. And like all good things, Jack and everybody else has come on. This is a wrap. Stick a bow on it. It's been great, everybody. Y'all be blessed. Tomorrow night, I'll be on here May 1st, kicking off the month of May with Cowboys Nikki. Lovely lady from the Texas area, originally from the Louisiana area, but cannot wait to have you all back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. on Prim and Proper Sports. And we wish everybody a good night, and good night to you, Jack.
Hey, good night, Sonja. Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure.
This is Northeast Streaming Sports.